What's up, everybody? Well, I got another gameplay video for you guys today, this time on the secondary computer here, and we're gonna try to play some Black Myth Wukong. Now, honestly, right now, it might just tell me, nope, you've played on too many computers. The Nuvo might come in and say, owned. Though, I don't even know if this game actually has it. I just heard rumors that said it did. So, it won't surprise me if it tells me, nope, you've played on too many, but hopefully not. I'd like to get all of the computers done today, though it's already pretty late, so I don't know if I'm gonna be able to, but I'm gonna at least give it a damn good try. Then I got a bunch of voiceover to do. Plus some I didn't finish yesterday, because it got too late. But, in any case, why don't we go ahead and go hop ourselves into the game.
Alright, so here's the settings we're gonna try first, which is probably gonna suck and we're not actually getting any gameplay, but we're gonna try the ray tracing setting, just like we did on everything else. Probably stupid to do very high too, but at least I didn't put it on cinematic at the same time. I figured, let's do high and ray tracing. That's about the only chance we have, and even then. Alright, well, here's what we got for the benchmark. We got 9 FPS, 13, 6, 7 for low fifth, and yeah, definitely not playable at all whatsoever. So, there's all the settings we used though. And now, let's go move on to something that'll actually hopefully be playable. Alright, so here's the settings we're going to go with this time. Borderless, 1440p, all that stuff's the same. No motion blur. And now we're going to just turn ray tracing completely off, well, besides the built-in ray tracing that just is in the game. And we're just going to do cinematic. Alright, well this time we got 47 average, max of 56 and a minimum of 36 and a low fifth of 41 with 10 gigs of VRAM used. So, a lot more playable now, but still, this is not the frame rate I would want to play on a $1,000 computer plus. But still, let's go get a little gameplay just to see what it's like. Alright, here we are in the game. And wow, we're actually pretty close to 60 in this particular area, but I already know that's going to be short-lived once we get closer to the water and all that stuff. From what I hear, this game just has built-in like lumen ray tracing and all that stuff, so even if you turn NVIDIA's ray tracing off, it still can be a little bit of a bitch to run with good settings. Well, maxed out settings like cinematic anyway. If I remember correctly, this thing does pretty decent once we just drop it down to very high or high. I can't remember which. I did way too many Wukong videos to remember what got where and who. But the game definitely looks real freaking good. If you're somebody who doesn't give a shit about 60 FPS and just likes, you know, good-looking visuals, well, shit, you can just plop cinematic on and you're good to go. Because this looks great. Now, me, I'd prefer 60 plus and pretty much anything, but I can game on any frame rate. I just prefer 60 plus. Right around 100 for a game like this. 80 to 100 would be perfect for me. That's what I try to kind of strive for all the games I try to play here. Nope, I messed up my little benchmark, and usually I go around this other way. Oh well. I wonder if when I get to 590 if I'll actually be able to turn ray tracing on and get 60 in this game. Probably still no. Anyway, let's move on. Now here we go. We're gonna try some very high now. All this is still the same, but I like showing that it's still on 3440 by 1440. I didn't lower the resolution just to make it get better performance or anything. And we're still at 100% resolution too. And there we go. Let's go run a bench. Alright, so I guess I was wrong on this one. We still averaged 55, max 67, minimum 45, and low fifth to 47. 9.7 gigs of VRAM used. So, we couldn't quite hit an average of 60 even with very high. So it must have been high that started averaging 60 then. Still, let's go grab ourselves a little gameplay just to show you guys what it's like. Here we are in the game on very high now. So let's just run around a little. And at least in this spot, we're getting good FPS. I could deal with that. So where is it that we start dropping under 60 though? Because we only averaged 55. So it's not going to stay at 60 the whole time. There we go, down to 58. Not the end of the world, obviously. Especially with variable refresh rate. You usually don't notice little stutters like that. Now, if we just dropped all the way down to 30 all of a sudden and then back up to 60, well, then you're going to notice that. No amount of variable refresh rate is going to save you from that. You're going to definitely perceive that as a stutter. But I still like variable refresh rate. It's great. But before I actually got it, I sat there and thought, oh man, this is going to be awesome. It makes all games buttery smooth no matter what. It's like a perfect miracle worker. And then I learned, no, that's not entirely true. But whatever, like I said, it's still great. It basically just tries to lock your refresh rate to your frames. That's pretty much all it's trying to do. And they usually have I don't know if they have a maximum, but I know that they usually have a minimum. Most seem to not go under 30. I'm sure there's exceptions to that rule, but that's just what I've noticed. Alright, well, we got up to our little stop area here, so let's move ourselves along. Now we shall try high out. Still at 100% resolution. And I believe this is where we finally start averaging 60 plus. Although, watch, I'll just get owned in the face again. Like I said, I did so many videos today, it's hard to remember them all. So there we go, we averaged 76, got a max 89, a minimum of 62, a low fifth of 66, and 9.1 gigs of VRAM used. So, this is probably how I would play on this particular system, just with high. No ray tracing, no need for FSR. But, anyway, let's go hop into the game. Here we are in the game, and now we're finally getting really good FPS. And it still looks pretty damn good. I mean, this is just my opinion, but it looks like we might have lost like 10% visuals, if that. But we've gained a shit ton more playable FPS versus averaging 55. Now, there could still be some spots in the game where it does drop down to like 58 or something like that, but for the most part, we're going to be at 60 plus all the time. And yeah, like 80 to 100, this is exactly the kind of shit I like. I don't mind little drops down in the 70s or whatever, just as long as we stay over 60. Now, would it be cool to add the ray tracing in too? Sure, but so far I haven't been able to get good frame rates on that on anything, even on 4090s, not without help anyway. I don't even think I could hit an average of 30 FPS with native 4K resolution on my 4090 PCs, now that I think about it. And those are next, by the way. I just like the frame times of this thing. They're like really smooth. I'd say this is one of the smoothest PCs I tested this game on. Both this and the Asus G15 Advantage. Those two were probably the smoothest. Although my TV PC did a pretty good job too. I'd say those three are probably the best. Anyway, moving right along. Alright, so obviously I wouldn't run settings like this on a system like this, but I'm sure some people are interested, so we're going to try the medium settings and low settings too. Now, of course, before we jump into the game, let's go run a quick benchmark first. Here is the bench. This time around, we averaged 97, got a max of 112, a minimum of 36, and a low fifth of 82. So, I would not like this just because it seems like too many frames makes it harder for it to hit 60. Seeing as though with one tick up, we stayed at 60. Although, maybe we could have ran this again and it too would have gotten 30. Benchmarks can be weird. But anyway, let's go hop into the game now. Here are the medium settings now. It actually doesn't look as bad as I thought it was going to. The ground textures definitely don't look nearly as crisp. A lot of stuff like the plant life still has quite a bit of definition. And the rocks can be a hit or miss. Some rocks look fucking great, and then you look at other ones and they look like a fucking Xbox 360. But I'm sitting there really picking at straws there. And again, I'm sitting here watching myself play. If I was actually playing the game, I doubt I'd even notice. I'd probably just be able to play just fine like this. But oh, if somebody came in and told me, oh yeah, no dude, this is high settings, I'd probably be like, oh okay, you know? Because they still look pretty damn good. It's not like this looks like garbage or anything. I've seen some people say medium and low look like trash. Low does look like trash. I would not play this game on low. Medium is the absolute bare minimum. Like low doesn't even look like the same game. But you'll see what I mean in a minute. And along we shall move. All right. Here's low now. Still at 100% of the resolution. We will do FSR next. And that's the bottom. So, I would say it's about benchmark time. Alright, this time we averaged 124, got a max of 149, a minimum of 92, and a low fifth of 110. So see, look, this time we beat out the medium minimums. So the minimum must just be random. Probably just has little stutters no matter what you do. But, in any case, let's get into the game. Here we go with low, and as you can see now the ground looks really bad. The rocks look really bad, everything looks really bad. I mean, I guess the trees don't look super ultra bad yet, but they still look like a shell of their former selves. But hey, if all you care about is FPS and you want to treat this like an esports title, well, bam, here you go. Your wish is the game's command. That's why I like PCs. You can get whatever the hell you want, so long as your PC is powerful enough, that is. Obviously, I can't take my Steam Deck and get like 60 FPS in this no matter what. Doesn't happen. I can't even get 30 in this game. It's just a little too much. I will say, the Steam Deck still did a lot better in this game than it did in Final Fantasy 16 demo, I can tell you that. Heck, all of the different, the two handhelds and the mini PC all kind of fell flat on their face on that Final Fantasy game. Although the mini PC fell flat on its face in this game too, let's be honest. I'd say it probably handled this game the worst out of anything. But that's just my opinion. You guys can judge that for yourself when you see all the different benchmarks I did on everything. Although I think all those are still up out already. All right, let's get to moving on. All right, now we're going to try a little FSR out. So I'm going to put it to 80%. I don't know what any of the actual FSR levels are, but that's what I did on my laptop, so I figured I'd just copy that over here too. And we also toned it to high instead of trying cinematic or anything like that. So why don't we go ahead and hop into the game. So with that, we got an average of 96, a max of 111, a minimum of 78, a low fifth of 83, and we use 8.8 gigs of VRAM. And then there's all of our options and whatnot. So there's no trickery here. And now, let's go get a little gameplay. Now here we go with FSR. And high settings here. And yeah, game does not look that bad. FSR has definitely come quite a long way. It's not perfect by any means, but it's definitely come a long way from when it was conceived, just like DLSS. Hell, I used to dub DLSS as Vaseline mode back in its 1.0 days. So like, oh, I get more performance, but I mean, my screen literally looks like there's Vaseline all over it. So I think I'm going to go with the not having the extra performance. I'll just tone some settings down. But then they came out with a second one, and they fixed almost all those problems. They fixed that issue. Then it just had a minor ghosting problem. And I think they've even mostly fixed that. I think now they just have like very minor little issues here and there. Mostly with background stuff that you have to pixel peep to see. But yeah, FSR's Achilles heel still seems to be movement. Anytime, like, if I started swinging my staff around, you'd be able to see all sorts of artifacts. Like, hell, if you just look really hard at my character, you could probably see the little visual artifacts just around him. And I think that's actually been happening the whole time since I've had FSR on, even though I'm at 100%. So you'd probably want to play this game at, you know, that TSA or TSR or whatever. Anyway, here we go. Last up, we're going to do a little frame gen. Now, on my other systems, I did do a my settings, but on this one, I would just plop that shit on high and go. So, with no ray tracing and no FSR. So I figured there's really no point in doing my settings if I already said that's what I'd do, you know? But we'll still do this. So let's go do a quick bench. So this time around, we got 161 average, 180 max, 136 min, and 142 fifth with 9 gigs of VRAM used. But obviously, that's a bunch of baloney, because that's not really the frames we're getting. They're all fake. But when you're already getting 60 plus, it does actually help a little with smoothness, or it can. But let's go find out. All right, here we go. We're in the game. So let's just run around and get a little gameplay. Ooh, see, I already don't like that. See, we weren't really getting like little frame time spikes like that from what I noticed. I mean, we still probably would if I went further than this area with the other settings, but we didn't really get those. So, I mean, I don't really care if that doesn't happen often, but it happened once already. It didn't really happen at all the other time, so maybe it's just because I'm recording and FrameGen doesn't like recording. I don't know. But let's just see if it has any more big spikes. Ooh, we can gather that. That's some big-ass fungi. Ooh, we can get this plant, too. Don't know what the hell this stuff does yet. I need to restart the game and actually pay attention to all the stuff. I was just in get you guys footage mode. So I did not pay very much attention. Hell, one time on the Steam Deck, I got to this area, and it told me something about this area, and I literally couldn't read anything because of my stats that I have up in the top left corner. Alright, why don't we go ahead and move on to a little camera recorded gameplay now.
Alright, now for a little camera recorded gameplay here. It definitely looks really nice on ultra wide, that's for sure. The cool thing about this game is it's not a giant RAM or VRAM hog. You don't need a lot of VRAM. I mean, even this computer is only using like 8 gigs right now. Of course, we could turn some settings up if we were going to do all this. I just turned the camera on after we did the frame gen screen record stuff. I just didn't think this thing really warranted my settings. I mean, all you really gotta do is, heck, just not run ray tracing and not run the game on full set, everything on cinematic, and you can get playable FPS no problem. I think that's plenty of camera recorded gameplay. Let's go wrap the video on up. Well, alright guys, that's a wrap for Black Myth Wukong, and it seemed to run pretty decent as long as you didn't try to turn ray tracing on, or try to run the game just maxed out. Like, high seemed to do okay as long as you had some FSR. Every once in a while it would drop under 60 though, that's why you need a little FSR. Well, I don't know, that was very high, excuse me. High seemed to be just fine. That seemed the way to go if you don't want FSR or nothing. But very high still couldn't quite do it. And cinematic was definitely not able to stay above 60 all the time. That was more like a 60 sometimes, but a lot of times more like 53, 54 kind of stuff. And that's just not what I'm looking for on a system like this. And then of course you could just turn frame gen on and just max the whole game out without ray tracing, of course. I don't think that shit's gonna save you no matter what with ray tracing. You gotta have an NVIDIA card if you wanna do ray tracing in this game, I think. And even that is gonna require help from like DLSS, at least. And maybe even frame gen. We'll see. That is the next computer we're going to, is the main one. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video though, because I sure as hell enjoyed making it for you guys. And until the next video, peace out, guys.